안녕하십니까.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hongjung, Senior Manager-in-Chief of KI. I am in charge of technology development and UAM TF. So UAM is one of the hottest industries. And we are now developing multi-role integrated UAM aircraft with payload of 600 kilograms. So let's start with the contents. First, I'd like to talk about the UAM market trend, vehicle features, roadmap, and also KIUAM. And then I will finish up with the future plan. First, the UAM market trend. So this is from Vertical Flight Society, and this is very recent numbers from this month. So there are many companies developing eVTOL aircrafts, except for electric rotorcrafts and hoverbikes. There are around like 600. So earlier last year they said like around 300. Now we have 400. In the aviation, especially civil aviation, there are limited numbers of aircrafts. Then we have seen a sudden increase in the number of eVTOL, and the biggest contributor is that the propulsion system, which used to be the biggest barrier for most companies, is now become electrified with advancement in the batteries and the motors. Now many startups have entered this business. Joby and Lilium, they have come up with tangible results with financing. So that's what makes others to join the industry. So let's move on to the status by type and region. There are development going on in 48 countries, mostly in Europe and in the US. I think that's because aviation industry is much more advanced in these regions, and startup ecosystem is more advanced in these regions as well. So mostly Germany and the US are leading the effort. So let's take a look at by type. In the earlier days, EHang and Volocopter were leading, but now they have been replaced by vector thrust lift cruise with multi-copters. And now around 44% of the vector thrust. Now, let me introduce some major players. I think most of you are interested in eVTOL and UAM, and these names must be very familiar to you. The data is from SM Consulting, a Korean consulting company. So they take a look at the industry based on the number of the aircrafts to see whether commercial level services is really available. They also look at their technology readiness, certification process, and production readiness, funding received, and the team that led the company. So they selected 24 companies out of like around 400. So they have received around 8,000 orders. So and the amount is like $560 million. It's a huge market. So among them, 15 countries declared the introduction of the commercial services in 2025. But the thing is, the aviation industry is quite unique, especially in the civil aviation.
그렇기 때문에 이 UAM
Commercial and
항공기 산업의 형태로
Boeing and Airbus takes up around like 95% of the market.
형태로 갈지에 따라서
So it still remains to see whether the market will be dominated by a small number of companies or maybe become a fragmented industry.
볼 필요가
So it will be very interesting to watch.
다음은 UAM 기체의 특징에
Next,
대해서 말씀드리겠습니다.
let's take a look at the characteristics of the UAM aircrafts. There are many characteristics that we want to take a look. Economic sense, performance, noise. But first, I'd like to talk about the safety.
항공학에서 가장 중요한 팩터가
To have a successful UAM industry, reliability should come first.
오른쪽에 보시면 A350
On your right,
기가 있고
this is A301,
기체 저도 약
A350, and there's another one, KC-100. These two aircrafts were developed by two different companies, but they have something in common. That's the 10 minus
이 수치가 의미하는 게 어떤 거냐면
10 to,
failure rate이라고 그래요.
I'm sorry, the catastrophe failure rate.
하면 항공기가 대파되거나
That means that when the flight is destroyed or
죽을 확률은 10억
death occurs,
때문에 사람들이 이런 민항기를 타는 거죠.
it's 10 to the minus
UAM은 어떨까?
9.
이 부분에서 생각을 해보면 UAM은 현재 유럽 항공안전청에서 작년에 발표한
ESA
내용을 보면 역시 마찬가지로
announced special conditions. They also require 10 to the minus 9 for catastrophic failure rate.
스페셜 컨디션의 카테고리 인핸스드란 부분입니다. 그래서
There is a category enhanced.
비행하는 기체는 10의 마이너스 9승
So if the flight goes over a densely populated area, the catastrophic failure rate should be 10 to the minus 9. This is a very strict rule that is often applied to the commercial manned aircrafts, like large planes.
쉽게 시장에 진입했던 업체들이 과연 이 기준을 만족할 수
So
있느냐에 따라서 기술적으로
whether the companies that are already in the industry will be able to meet this condition, that's a question.
형태로 좀 검증이 필요하고
And of course,
인증 과정으로 설명을 합니다.
we need a certification process to validate it.
서티피케이션, 그다음에
There will be a type certificate or production certificate.
약간 광고를 하자면
Well, this may sound that we are bragging.
2013년까지
Until 2013, we developed KC-100, and we are the only entity with type certificate and production certificate.
바이래터럴 에비에이션 세프티
And we also entered a bilateral aviation safety agreement with the U.S.,
까지 했습니다.
even expanding into the aircraft.
그러면 저희 회사에서 그 UAM이 차지하는 위치와 의미에 대해서
Then what is the meaning of UAM's position at our company? I think if you are interested in our company, you may already know.
기술과 같은 대형 국책 사업,
KUH and large national projects
쉐어링 파트너로 참여하는 민수 사업들을 주력으로 하고 있습니다.
and civil projects are our key business areas.
5개 분야에서
We have 5 business areas that we want to further develop our capabilities. First is the future air mobility, UAM, electric aircrafts.
현재 전 세계적으로 크게 일어나고 있는 4차 산업혁명,
The fourth industrial revolution is happening across the globe,
UAM 사업을
and
저희
that trend has been reflected into our business strategy to
발전시키려고
choose AAM as one of the key future business areas.
테크놀로지 컨버전스 부분입니다.
Next, technology convergence. As you know,
수직 이착륙하고
UAM should be able to take off or land vertically. They also will be able to provide unmanned autonomous flight.
결합체라고 할 수 있습니다.
So this is a combination of fixed wing and rotary wing aircrafts. We have small helicopter aircrafts and even a fighter jet that can fly at Maha at a very fast speed.
약 2,000명 이상의 항공 전문 엔지니어
We have around 2,000 professional engineers. We also have a huge database.
저희 회사는
We are leveraging this
을 새로 만드는
to develop
집중할 계획을
a UAM, and we will focus our capabilities on it.
기체 하나는 유인
These two aircrafts, the one is manned and the other one is unmanned.
아덱스 때 공개한 모델인데요.
This is the models we unveiled at the ADEX earlier.
항공기에서는 실험기에 X를 붙여줍니다. 저희가
We usually add
항공기가
letter X for experimental
эк스페리먼트를 붙여주는데요.
vehicle.
저희는 이 기체에 에코프렌들리 일렉트릭
So
엑스페리먼트에서 이스퀘어 X라는 이름을
E square X is the name of this vehicle because this is an abbreviation of eco-friendly electric experiment.
X 모델을 만들면서 고려했던 사항들을 간단하게
This is what we considered when we designed
말씀드렸고요.
this model. We reflect the customer needs. We also analyzed market trends in the process.
요구하는 UAM은
UAM required in this area should have at least 5 seats and should be able to fly at least 100 kilometers. For the military purposes,
무인 항울기 payload 600kg급의
unmanned vehicle, unmanned with a payload of 600 kilograms is needed. To meet these needs, we considered two factors. So we set our operational goal, also requirements.
컨셉 스케치
I don't have it here, but we have more than 10 concept sketches. We invited experts to select 4 designs eventually. We also considered the size of the rotors, performance of the aircraft, controllability,
이스퀘어 X
to finalize two types of E square X, which were released at RX.
저희 이스퀘어 X의
E square X
특징이라고 한다면
is unique in commonality.
말하는 데 있어서는 3천억 이상의 비용이
To develop a model,
그리고
you need at least like 30 billion won. And of course, for the infrastructure for that model, you will need more investment.
개발하기에는 굉장히 큰 부담이 됩니다.
So it's really burdensome for a company to develop 2 different aircrafts. So we wanted to identify the commonality, the powertrain,
비행적 부분들을
avionics.
하기로 결정을 하였습니다. 그렇게 해서 양산 기간을
So that allowed us to shorten the mass production period and also save cost.
기체는 전방에 4개의 틸트 로터를 가지고
It has 4 tilt rotors on the front,
방향으로 도는
and we also has co-rotating rotors on the rear side.
보시면 약간 걸링이라 하는데요. 갈매기처럼 돼 있습니다.
So it has a wing that looks like a gull wing.
안정성이 뛰어난 스타일입니다.
It provides high stability. We think UAM
요구하는 기체가 아니기 때문에
is not like a fighter jet that
그 민간이 타는
requires maneuverability.
시야나 그 승객들의 그 시야를 확보하기 위해서
And
걸링이 선택되었습니다.
Gull wing was elected for a wider view of the passengers.
체크했는데요. YTL의 장점이
We
중량
also went for a wild tail because it's light,
날개에서 날아오는 후리의 영향도 적게
and it will be less affected by the wind in the rear side. Of course, there is some side effect in controllability, but the trade-off is something that's worthwhile.
보시는 것처럼 붐테일을 사용했는데
We also used boom tail
카고를 싣고 내릴 수 있게 채택하였습니다.
for easy loading and unloading.
고민을 좀 했던 부분인데요. 그 랜딩 기어 담당자 입장에서
For the landing gear,
스키드 타입을 이제 선호했었습니다.
the person in charge preferred the
근데 실제 저희가
ski
고려했던
type.
부분은
But what actually we
주기장에서
considered was that
자유롭게 움직일 수 있어야
it should
되고
be able to operate
착륙을 했을 때
in an autonomous way.
불가능하죠. 그렇기 때문에 저희가
And ski
활동까지
type
고려해서
It's not proper when we consider the taxing. So we went for a different tricycle landing gear for easy landing and parking.
간단한 제온입니다.
These are the specifications.
탈 수 있고요.
So it will be able to carry 5 passengers, payload 600 kilometers for cargo loading. So these,
MTW가 2톤으로 되어 있는데요.
as you can see here in preliminary requires, MTOW is
약 2.5톤의
1,000 kilograms, but in the end we ended up with 2,000 kilograms. I think the requirements will be updated in the future. The maximum speed will be 250 kilometers and range is 100 kilometers. The range is shorter compared to other aircrafts because of the battery, so it's somewhat limited. To complement that, we started a project on a hybrid system. We are also start another project on the propulsion system.
예, 저희는 그 고객의 요구에 따라서 맞춤형 기체를
We can provide customized air vehicles to meet different customer needs.
인증을 받은 기체들의
Vehicles that are produced overseas and certified in Korea, certified in foreign countries, they cannot be easily certified in Korea.
기본적인 데이터뿐만 아니라
Not just basic data, but also
시험에 관한 모든 자료를 통해서
all the materials and data for certification
기체를 만들 수 있을 수
will be utilized to develop
민간 버전에 군용 버전으로 네 가지
civil or military aircrafts that meets the customer needs. When it is used for military purposes, we can use it for command, utility air assault, freight transport, and medical evacuation. If you want it bulletproof, we're going to add it.
민간과 다르게
Like the civil application, if you want to add a capability to drop the cargo in the air, well, we can add that too. So we call it MADVAC.
위험한 전장 지역을
If you need to fly it over a war zone,
만들 생각입니다.
then we will be able to make it unmanned to fly it there.
그리고 다음은 저희가 아덱스 때
Next is the
군용 개념에 대한 영상을
video about our demo, which was released at ADEX. So please watch it together.
예, 잘 보셨는지요?
I hope you enjoyed the video. Lastly,
생각하고 있는 UAM 향후 계획에 대해서
let me show you our future plan.
2차적인 목표는
Our first goal
2028년까지
is by 2028,
100kg 다목적 UAM에 대해서 상용화를 하는 게
to commercialize a multi-role UAM aircraft, and we are going to gradually increase the payload and increase the number of passengers to 10.
핵심 기술을 익히려고 하는데요.
And we will, of course, develop the necessary technologies by making investment in lightweight materials and
시스템에 대해서 저희가 과제를 하나
many others. We also conducted another research on the hybrid. We already started another project on hydrogen propulsion system. So,
친환경이나 비용 측면에서 가장 중요한 내용은
cost effectiveness and eco-friendliness is very important here, and we are also looking at the thermoplastic materials.
기술 대회자를 마치고 29년에는
In 2029, we are going to expand our business into the electrified aircrafts. In this area, electrified UAM can be combined all together. And if we combine all the information or data we have in these areas, we will achieve quite good competitiveness in this sector. That's all for future UAM plan. Thank you very much for your attention.